Okay, since it is 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Michelle, will you read the sunshine law notice?
This is a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Keyport, Tuesday, January 17, 2023. Let the minutes show that adequate notice of this meeting as required by Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, has been provided by the annual notice, which has been posted on the bulletin boards filed with the Borough Clerk, and has been sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Independent, and the Star Ledger.
Thank you. Michelle, will you do the roll call?
Councilmember Demarest.
Here.
Councilmember Riley. Councilmember Vecchio.
Here.
Councilmember Pepperoni.
Here.
Councilmember McNamara.
Here.
Council President Davidson.
Here.
And for the record, Mayor Aranio.
Yes.
Borough Attorney Victoria Flynn.
Here.
Borough Administrator Jay Delaney.
Here.
Police Chief Shannon Torres.
Here.
And Borough Engineer Jim Priola.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd also like for everybody to remain standing for two reasons. One, John Stencil, who has passed away unexpectedly. He is the husband of Kerry Stencil, who works in our tax office. Our deepest sympathies with her and her family at this time. I'd also like to remain a moment of silence for our neighboring Hazlitt family. The Montanaro family with the tragic loss of Jackie and her daughter Madeline, as well as their dog Duchess. Our deepest thoughts and sympathies with the family, as well as the Hazlitt community as they overcome this tragic event. Thank you. Okay. First, I'd like to talk first about, yesterday was January 16th. We weren't here in Borough Hall, but we'd like to acknowledge Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is the day which commemorates civil rights activist, Baptist preacher, and Nobel Peace Prize winner Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was known for his activism against segregation and his advocacy for civil rights. Dr. King was one of the most influential civil rights activists in America. He delivered the famous "I Have a Dream" speech in 1963. He was assassinated in 1968 because of his advocacy. Dr. King's legacy has set the bar high for leadership in all Americans and will continue to remain a major influence in our society for equality and opportunity for all people. Okay, let's start with the committee reports. Councilmember Demarest.
Yes, I have some report on the KBBC. I sat in a meeting with some very nice people, very structured, very organized, and I'd like to report that they're moving the farmers market back to the, I call it the Ye Cottage Inn lot, but whatever lot we call it right over here, they're moving the farmers market back to there on Sunday.
They're requesting.
They're requesting to do it, yes, requesting to do it. And so that's something I'd like to report. I think it's great for the senior citizens that live over here that can walk down there, and the people in town that want to continue to pursue and go there and get things. You know, I lived in Keyport my whole life, and it is in my opinion, a blue-collar town. Hard-working people that get things done. So I think it's a great idea for people to be able to go down there and utilize the farmers market. The other part I am involved with is the public works and water sewer, which I have not had a chance to sit down in a meeting yet, but I will, and I'll follow up with the committee on that.
Thank you.
And then I know I'm second fiddle for the Harbor Commission, but I believe she was not, I was there with her, but she's absent. But I sat in the meeting and it worked out good.
No, she's not.
Oh, no, she's not here. It was she's here.
I'm here.
Sorry, Melissa.
Hiding over here.
Not you, the other one. I was there with her. Sorry about that.
Okay, Councilmember Vecchio.
Well, I guess I'll start with the Harbor Commission. Dale and Chris on that. Chris and I attended the meeting on January 9th. They confirmed that the lockers are empty and discussions are ongoing as to if they can possibly be fixed and how they'll be fixed, and that's going to continue into the next meeting. Nancy Smalling also put together a slideshow and report for us to see of all the signage down by the water. They're trying to consolidate the signage so that it's not such a cluster of signs everywhere. The charter fishing boat and hot dog concessions are still being reviewed for bid, and the snapper contest per approval right now is tentatively scheduled for Saturday, September 16th. They were looking in August, but apparently the fish don't bite as well in August, so that's why we're looking to go possibly in September. I also, for Municipal Alliance, Councilman Pepperoni and I attended, and they are doing an event called Get High on Life, which is a kite event, and it ended up working out that as of now, tentatively, they're going to hold the event with Keyport Red Raider Night, which is Thursday, May 18th, from 5:30 to 7:30, and they're going to see if they can do both events at the same time. They thought it would be a nice fit to have the kids at the school and any kids in town be able to attend, and that would be either at the high school or the central school. They haven't fully determined that part yet, and they're also looking to possibly have assemblies at the schools to discuss vaping, which is apparently starting to sadly be a problem. For the police, I have a few numbers to read for the police. Calls for service so far in January, which is this year, 647 calls, 48 police matters, 53 first aid, 77 building, housing, and premises checks, 181 motor vehicle stops, 75 summonses, and 32 parking summonses issued. And January 9th was National Law Enforcement Day, and I just want to tell Chief Torres that we appreciate her and her team, and we're lucky to have them. And I know that she has stuff to report on the concealed carry weapons and permits that are taking place that she'll do later on. And that's everything I have.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Pepperoni?
So I have a few different ones, but I'm going to start with the construction office. I'm just going to give the total input for last year for what we brought in as a whole, and that was $413,000 for permits, electrical permits, zoning, soil transfer, dumpster permits, fines, and the whole list. I ain't gonna bore you with that. For the treasurer's report for 2022, this is total collected for the Board of Health. That was $34,362,000. That's dog licenses, cats, marriage certificates, death certificates, food handlers, and miscellaneous. Then also for recreation, so myself and Councilman Demarest sat in with recreation. We talked about tightening up the calendar for 2023. That's in the works. It should be close to being like, it's a lot pending, but we got some dates hashed out. They also are talking about bringing back the summer program for the kids at the school for the, what do we call that? Summer rec program. So we talked about that. We also need to, for the 5K, we need to recertify the course because we're a little short, so they want to recertify it so we have the exact length, because then this way we can have it certified for other sponsors and stuff coming from the outside. What else? The other one is, oh, you did that. Oh, that's it for me. Yep, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember McNamara?
Thank you. Finance and grants. We received the state award letter and other correspondence from the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management for what we hope is the last T to cross since the official notice of receiving the $450,000 FEMA grant last March. This leaves us looking for the other 75% or so of the estimated $2 million project cost for Fireman's Park flood mitigation. Tentatively scheduled a finance meeting with Councilmember Riley, myself, and CFO Fallon for Wednesday the 25th to start to work on the timeline for this year's budget work and other efforts. Reminder, as we had done the end of last year, to all departments that estimated budgets for the year are due. Please include all relevant information about current equipment, age of equipment, maintenance, any requests for consideration. There's been some great work put forth the last 2 years on that front, so hopefully that continues. So council members, please remind any departments, committees, commissions that you're involved with now that it is time to bring forth anything for these financial planning discussions. A resolution is included in the agenda tonight regarding a grant with the New Jersey Department of Consumer Affairs, and that's for the 2023 Local Recreation Improvement Grant. If you are a homeowner or a renter in New Jersey, as of October 1st, 2019, you are most likely eligible for the property tax relief through the New Jersey Anchor Program. The December 2022 deadline was extended twice. It's now February 28th, so if you were lazy, if you moved your paper 5 times, you lost your PIN number, you can still do this. So homeowners, it's up to $1,500. If you're a renter, $450. One notable change, initially if you were in a facility that was covered by a pilot program, so for example, Oyster Bay, Bethany Manor, you were not eligible. That restriction has been lifted, so folks in those facilities can in fact apply for the $450. I'm going to share that information over at the Senior Center to help get it out there too. NPP, Council Member Vecchio and I attended a meeting yesterday with our NPP coordinator, Nicole Henn. She's been sharing prior years and current information with us over the past few weeks. The first stakeholder meeting is next Tuesday. I did ask her about the Main Street lot to inquire about the striping because that had gotten paved, but it's still not striped. She informed me there's a small section of the lot that needs to be remilled before striping. However, there's also some additional consideration being given to perhaps sealing before striping. Yes, we are all aware of the Beer Street versus Beers Street, and that is being replaced as part of the new signs, which really look really nice. Cannabis, I checked in with Miss London. She said that the litigation is moving forward in the court on the 2 cases. That's the KGNJ and the Green and Gold. And over the next few weeks, we'll be reviewing the forms and processes that were used last year to see what, if any, changes should be made before we accept any new applications and start a new process. Green Team will be meeting the end of the month. Reminder, Green Team tips are up on the borough website. You can access those all the time. Monthly meetings are open to the public, and they are the 4th Tuesday of each month at 7 o'clock right here in this chamber. So if you're interested, please come. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Davidson?
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll start with Planning Board. We have not had a meeting yet in January. Our next meeting is January 26th. That's going to be our reorganization meeting. We also, the RFPs for the professionals are due back tomorrow, and so those will be decided at that next meeting as well. I know for Planning Board going forward for the first quarter, there's quite a few applications, so it should be a pretty busy time for us. Redevelopment, we have a meeting later this week to discuss transitioning from 2022 and discuss pending issues and anything new that should be, will be discussed. So that is later this week. For Councilmember Riley, who's not here tonight, for fire, we plan on having a meeting with the chiefs when she returns, so hopefully in the next week or 2, probably 2 weeks. And we'll plan on attending the department meeting at the end of the month. First aid, the total number of calls for the year for 2022 was 1427, and that was approximately 4,500 manpower hours on calls alone, which is quite significant. OEM, we have not had a chance to meet with them yet, so again, when Councilmember Riley returns, we will set up that meeting with Chief Crowe. Development, first aid, OEM, fire. That is all I have to report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll give a mayor's update for the month of January. I attended the KBBC meeting on January 10th where the executive board nominations and elections were held. President Larry Vecchio, Vice President Melissa O'Connell, Treasurer Joanne Colonella, and Secretary Yulia Kravshin. We had also discussed the municipal lot where there's big potholes in the lot, and I believe part of it was the money was from the KBVC portion of it to have it paved, if I'm not mistaken, Jay.
That's correct.
Okay. So there was discussion of, there's major potholes there. I attended the library board trustee meeting on January 12th, where I swore a new member, Andrea Block. Board of Trustee reorganization and voting also occurred with appointing of executive board, President Michelle Bruska, Vice President Erica Hubler, Treasurer Rose Destratato, okay, Secretary Chris Leeson. The library has met with the Keyport Historical Society to talk about collaborations with them at the library. The board will update as this happens. The director would like to start a library of things for patrons, including puzzles, board games, maker kits, telescope, binoculars, where patrons would come in and check out items just like a book and return by a certain date. They will be looking for donations for items also. Library also looking into restoring the clock this year. The National Association of Watch and Clock Collectors has offered to repair the historical clock for no charge, with the exception of parts. As more information is brought forward, we'll bring it to the governing body as well as the residents. Leslie, the library director, has applied for a Monmouth County Historic Re-Grant Program and was awarded $1250 towards newspapers.com, which holds Keyport Weekly and several other historic newspapers. He also has some highlighted upcoming programs at the library: Pajama Storytime, Wednesday, January 18th, Teen Distress, Thursday, January 19th, Take and Make Crafts for kids every Friday. And that's all I have to report. Taking a look at the consent agenda, I'd like a motion for if there's any discussion on Resolution 2023-52 to, actually, public comment, sorry about that. Motion to open to the public. Motion. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have any public comment? John Morello?
John Morello, 34 Broad Street, Keyport. On the payment of bills, there's a payment in the amount of $9,000 from Motorola for a camera for the police. It's, even though it's being charged to the Drunk Driving Education Fund, obviously that must have been through a grant. Jay, I'd like to know, like, if we have any knowledge of how many cameras we have, and number two, what is the life expectancy of a camera?
Yeah, these are body-worn cameras.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I would defer to the chief as to the number. There are cameras available for each officer on duty. The life expectancy, they are fairly durable, but they are also subject to damage during, day-to-day operation. I don't know if the chief did any.
Yeah, I can answer. So originally we needed a new docking station. We only had 16 cameras available. When we have a large event, including SLEOs, everybody has to wear one. So we were able, through a grant, which was no cost, it was something that was urgent that we needed to provide our SLEOs and get ready for the events in the summer. We were able to obtain an additional set of cameras and a docking station as well. So, and they do, although Motorola took over, they do require maintenance. I mean, it is what it is. It's equipment. The life expectancy of one, I mean, it depends on the wear and tear and how much you use it. But we're looking at least 5 years of a body-worn camera, depending on how you treat it. But
So everyone basically has their own?
now we do.
You do.
Yeah, we have enough to provide some with the SLEO 2s also we needed.
The only question I really had was, I think it's great that we got a grant to cover the one, but last year, the municipality paid for a lot of them.
Yeah, actually, the first round of body worn camera acquisition were also funded through a grant
For the state of New Jersey?
through the state. Right.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mike, McLean?
Michael Lane, 51 First Street, Newport. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. A couple of questions. On the resolution 2022-54, the DCA grant for Cedar Street Park, I looked at the grant, and most of the grant is focused on refurbishing what we already have. This is a competitive grant. Is there any additional things that we could add that would really increase its attractiveness to win the competition? And some new capability that we would be adding to the site. So I asked you to think about that. Because we do need to do all the work that's out there, but if there was some way we could, I shouldn't use the term, make the thing more sexy. So we have a greater opportunity to win the grant. And we've done that in the past. Regarding the contract for Realty Data Systems, in the contract, it repeatedly talks about updating the Mod 4 database. Our Mod 4 database presently does not reflect the zoning changes we made and adopted in the new land use requirements and in the new master plan. They're not there. So we're potentially appraising properties that are residential, but they're zoned in the commercial. So what do we have to do to make that Mod 4 database update include updating the zoning information in the Mod 4 property record card? And the other thing I find interesting is that I didn't see any requirement for an audit of the inspection process from the point of view of what percentage of the homes actually open the door for inspection versus the total number. And this is interesting because there's a couple properties that I'm familiar with that haven't been inspected probably in the last dozen years. And one of the properties is very interesting. It's twice the size of my house. It's on the waterfront. Huge number of square feet. And continuous updating. And it hadn't been inspected in years. It was assessed at the same level as my house. But they were advertising 4 apartment units in the house. And they were advertising brand new appliances, refurbished floors, pictures, and the place had never been inspected. How do we deal with that? Do we get any kind of data on what percentage of the total homes that were to be inspected actually got access into the house? What, for homes that haven't been inspected, how many years has it been since they've been inspected? So I think there's a real gap here in your spec for the inspections. And it's costing us money that we could use to hire an assistant borough clerk. And regarding resolution 2023-60, compensation for the prosecutor. I saw the number was like $27,500 for the part-time job for the year. What is being changed? What's the new compensation?
Jail answer.
Yes, that appointment was made at the reorganization meeting and has traditionally been compensated in the form of salary. That was true for both the prosecutor as well as the public defender. Subsequent to the award being made in conversations with the 2 professionals that were appointed, It was determined, and it's my recommendation, that that be converted from compensation in the form of salary to being in the form of a professional service contract.
And what does that mean?
Well, it means they'll still be making the same dollars, but it won't be paid as a salary, it'll be paid as a professional service on a contractual basis.
Is that going to be an hourly rate?
It's a fixed rate for the year. It's an annual compensation that is paid on a monthly basis in 12 equal installments.
I guess I don't understand the difference.
Well, the difference is just one is paid through payroll, and it's W-2 income to the vendor. Alternatively, as a contract, it's a 1099 compensation. So the advantage to the borough is we're not paying for Social Security costs and related payroll expenses. The other advantage, or what really prompted the change, is that in the case of the public defender, a firm has been hired and the individual changed from case to case per se. So it made more sense to do it on a contractual basis rather than identifying a specific individual employee.
Thank you for that input. My one other input is on the communications. Letter number 1, where they're asking for action, and it indicates going to be considered to be receipt and file. Will that trigger any action?
Number 1 is for approval. It's for the approval for the St. Patty's Day parade, if that's the one you're looking at.
Not in my agenda.
The agenda was
It was changed, it was amended
late this afternoon.
late this afternoon to add that on today.
All right, then what's the letter number that I should be referencing?
I don't know which one are you looking at?
Is this the yacht club?
Yes.
So that's,
Oh, number 2, okay,
Yeah.
letter dated.
Yes, letter number 2. They've specifically asked for some action. And I don't know how many members of the council are aware of the fact that probably about 5 or 6 years ago, there was, and there still is, a real parking problem when the yacht club has activities going on. And the yacht club approached the borough council to abandon the north end of Atlantic Street, and it would be split between the 2 property owners. And that was overwhelmingly approved by the council. The yacht club presented plans for parking. They presented plans for how the property was going to be used. Unfortunately, they didn't have a written contract with the neighbor. And so things got into a lawsuit that didn't go anywhere. The yacht club now owns lot number 18. This is a new lot for them. Their existing lots are lot number 17 and lot number 19. Lot number 19 is the lot where the yacht club clubhouse is. It consists of 4 lots, 19, 20, 21, and 22, that have all been merged together. Lot number 17 is the north end of Atlantic Street, which is owned by the yacht club, and an underwater lot, a huge underwater lot. If you go back and check history, probably 70 years ago, the end of Atlantic Street had a pier for unloading coal barges. In the corner of Atlantic and First Street was the coal storage area. So the yacht club has ownership of the end of Atlantic Street all the way across and this huge underwater lot. They would like to now, and when the land use requirements element team and all the citizens in Keyport that worked on the master plan and rezoning issue worked the details, the decision was made that we really want Keyport to continue to be a port. And so property was zoned general marine commercial. Lots 19, which has the yacht club building and the pier, and the underwater lot and the end of Atlantic Street are all presently zoned general marine commercial. The yacht club would like to, they have purchased the lot number 18, which years ago was the office building for the coal business. It wasn't a very well managed home. And that building's been demolished. The yacht club, in alignment with the master plan initiative to ensure that Keyport continues to be a port, wants to have the lot 17, have the lot 17 designated as general marine commercial, the same as their other two lots. And this would be their first step in then putting together a use plan that they would go before the planning board. But they can't take that step until the borough rezones lot number 18 as general marine commercial, the exact zoning of the other two lots, which the land use element team wholeheartedly supported. And we couldn't do it then because it was a residential lot. Even though there was an agreement and an approval by this council back when the street was abandoned, and there's a whole set of documentation, I'd be happy to share it with you, that this property should be general marine commercial. So I ask you to not let this fall in the wastebasket, but take action. Very simple first step. Authorize the attorney to generate a ordinance for zoning change that would then be heard at a public hearing. Any objections or support input could be given at the public hearing where the final decision could be made. But the first step is have the borough attorney draft the ordinance. So I ask you to take that action. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Elmer?
Elmer J. Graham Jr., 22 St. Peter's Place. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the Borough Council. A few things. On Resolution 2023-56, why is a one-year extension of the contract necessary?
Jay, can you answer that?
Yes, Mayor. The contract, well, let's start at the beginning. This is related to the borough's participation in the assessment demonstration program through the Monmouth County Board of Taxation,
Okay.
which provides for all properties to be inspected for tax assessment purposes on a 5-year cycle. So the borough received proposals several years ago, and the award the contract for, I believe it was a 3-year period. The contract also provides that the contract can be extended for 2 additional 1-year periods in order for one company to complete a 5-year cycle. That's where we are today. This resolution authorizes a 1-year extension of the contract that was initiated several years ago for the inspection of the property.
Okay. Resolution 2023-57, can you all, about the committing fees and stuff like that, are they going to raise the fees, or the fees are going to stay the same? What's that all about?
Jay?
Yes, this resolution goes hand in hand with an ordinance that was adopted late last year, which provides for a structure for use, the application process, and permit approval for the use of public facilities, including but not limited to our parks and recreation areas. So in some cases, I don't think in any case existing fees are remaining the same, they have all been modified, and this provides for additional fees for uses that were not covered under the previous ordinance.
Okay, and one more thing before I stop. In past Borough Council meetings, as far as the consent agenda and public comment agenda goes, I would suggest that going back to putting the consent agenda first, discussing that or whatever, and then having the public comment period after to discuss the board's concerns on the consent agenda and stuff like that. You know, I don't understand why that was switched under former Mayor Kennedy, but that's my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Do you have a motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
All ayes? All in favor? All in favor.
Aye.
Okay. Do we have a motion from the governing body?
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Before we have a motion, I'd like to, just one comment, and can I pull, if it's at the, if the rest of the governing body agrees, I would like to pull resolution R 2023-59. Councilmember Riley, the lead on fire, and I've had an opportunity to meet with the fire chiefs, even though we've transitioned with Councilmember Pepperoni. We don't have all the information needed to discuss taking that vehicle in,
Okay.
as far as the costs associated with it, the need, the purpose, so on and so forth. So we discussed having that information first.
Okay. Do we have a motion from the governing body to pull that?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye. And then on resolution 23-54 regarding the grant, just more of a statement than anything else. Recently, a resident approached me to discuss the possibility of adding a pickleball court to that park where we have the 2 tennis courts. So to Mr. Lane's point, and discussed it with Jay, and apparently this has already been a conversation, so going forward, I guess, Jay, when the planning portion of it, more so that if we get the money, then we'll hopefully consider maybe adding a pickleball court in. Okay. Jay, is that correct?
That's correct. And just to follow up on a comment earlier this evening, the application for these funds to renovate the Cedar Street Park are primarily to replace the existing facilities. Some of the specific, and I think the term was used, the sexy items, are new items. One is that making the facility handicap accessible, as well as the addition of a walking trail from the parking lot on Pine Street around the ball field to the waterfront. So that is an enhancement. It would be in addition to the existing facilities and features at that park.
So do we have a motion from the governing body to approve the consent agenda R 2023-52 through R 2023-58, and then R 2023-60 through 61?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Michelle, you need a roll call?
Councilmember Demarest.
Yes.
Councilmember Riley. Councilmember Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilmember Pepperoni.
Yes.
Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
And Councilmember Davidson.
Yes, thank you.
Communications by consent, we received a letter dated December 16 from Hank Young for the Keyport Fire Department for the 2023 parade chairman, requesting permission to hold the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Saturday, March 25th, 2023, with the rain date Sunday, March 26th, 2023, starting at 1 p.m. Do we have approval from the governing body?
I just have a question. Did police already have an opportunity to look at it, or is this your first notification?
No, we haven't. Yeah, all the they really need it just for the date, because they have to secure the date for the 25th. Otherwise, they're going to lose the bagpipers and the bands that they have. So it's really just for the date. The details will follow.
You okay with that?
Can I comment on the
Sure.
process? I would like to make sure that we kind of have a process in place, because already I hear like 6 different entities with things. I just want to make sure that we're cross-referencing so that we know. I'm okay with all this stuff, but I want to see what process is being used. Like, are we still filling out the forms?
Yes, the issue
Okay.
is on December 16th, they received it.
Yeah.
So now because timing is tight, because they have to book their bands and book the bagpipers, and whatever reason we didn't receive it, they need to secure the date. So it's really for the date only at this time.
Okay, and that's March 25th?
March 25th, Saturday, rain date Sunday, March 26th. So we have approval from council, motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Then we have a communication by consent to receive and file. Letter dated January 9th from Salvatore Alfieri, clarifying request for rezoning, block 94, lot 18, and add it. The letter dated January 11th from Borough Administrator Jay Delaney, advising of his resignation effective January 25th. So this is to receive and file. No action on that, right? Michelle? Okay, then we have approval and/or receipt and file of communications, motion on communication by consent.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes for approval, January 1st, 2023 reorganization meeting. We have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And we have reports 1 through 6, municipal clerk's report, December 2022, tax water sewer collectors report for December 2022, Board of Health treasurer's report for December 2022, Board of Health treasurer's report for year-end 2022, building department report for December 2022, municipal court report for December 22. We have a motion to approve the reports.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Unfinished business. Jay, do you want to explain what the unfinished business is?
Yes, this is listed as the housing code ordinance. Late last year, there was an ordinance introduced and a public hearing scheduled on a change to the borough's regulations as they pertain to housing occupancy codes. And several questions had been raised during the public hearing. It was the consensus of the council to hold that, actually to table the ordinance pending some additional information. And as a result of the timing, that ordinance could not be reintroduced in 2022. So we're starting from scratch with a new ordinance. This was placed on the agenda as an item of unfinished business. As I understood, there would be either some additional information made available as part of the agenda or at the meeting, and I don't know if we're ready to proceed with that at this time.
So actually, Mr. Vecchio's here to explain the 2 parts that we had questions on. Mr. Vecchio, could you speak on that?
Absolutely.
Thanks, sir. You could just walk us through the difference between, what
What are the questions?
I think the original question was, what were the differences between the BOCA and the International Code, and why we're using one versus the other? And then if there was a code enforcement issue, which one would we know to use?
Yeah, the additional question was what the specific changes were in terms of the occupancy that was permitted under the previous ordinance that was being allowed under the proposed ordinance.
So the only change there is the occupancy within an efficiency apartment. So right now, every efficiency apartment we have pretty much in town, including all of our high-rises, multi-dwellings out there, are all greater than 120 square feet, which is the number basically of the average size bedroom in town at 10 by 12, pretty much. They range up to 330 square feet. If we use the old BOCA code or the new international code, you're allowed to increase. Let's go back. We've always used the national standard of 2 people per bedroom. as long as it was 120 square feet. So a one-bedroom apartment, 2 people. A 2-bedroom apartment, 4 people. A 3-bedroom apartment, 6 people. If you look at the square footage allowed in the occupancy ordinances, you can have a bedroom with 70 square feet for the first person, 50 square feet for every additional person. So let's just take a single-family home in town where we have an old house built in the early 1900s that has 2 10-by-10 bedrooms, and it's being rented out. I'm not worried about people living in it. 2 10-by-10 bedrooms. I'm allowed 1 person in one in the other. I come in and get permits to rehab my second floor and combine those 2 and wind up with a 20-by-20 bedroom. I'm now allowed to put 7 people in that bedroom. So the problem came up a couple of months ago with other housing officials talking at a meeting. The first question that we got from the state was, what does your planning board resolution say for that building complex development? So we all know, we sit around here and go, oh, they're putting 18 one-bedroom apartments in, or they're putting 20 two-bedroom apartments in. But nobody says what's the max on what number should be in that 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom. So if we consider our parking problem that we have in the downtown, and we say, oh, every 1-bedroom apartment requires 2 cars. That 1-bedroom apartment's 20 by 20. You got 7 people living there. So there's a couple steps here. The planning board, when they approve any type of building with occupancy, bedroom occupancy, they should be putting in their resolution that the maximum for each bedroom is 2. So we don't have to enforce the other part of it. If you have a resolution, you're done. We don't have a resolution, so we need an ordinance. So I'm saying for our sake right now, there's a lot of our, in fact, all of our multiple dwellings, over 10 units or more in this town have been sold over the last couple of years for $20, $25 million a piece. Everybody wants to get some money back. The only way to do that is they add more people to their occupancy. So if I can squeeze another senior in the senior efficiency building, in which we always put 1 down, and now we're putting 2 down, or in some cases, Bethany Manor has enough square footage to put 3 people in an efficiency apartment. There's a bigger problem, so it needs to be addressed, and having an ordinance is the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any questions?
Anybody got it?
Thank you.
I'm asking Mr. Kelsey, because I know you brought up the international and versus Boca.
Would you like me to come up?
You what?
Can we ask him?
You want me? Was that for me, Kathy?
No, I was just saying, I don't know if we can open it to the public, because that was part of the reason, was Mr. Kelsey's comment.
Yeah, I mean, I would open it because I know Andrew.
Can
you
I
had some
ask, can I answer just something first? Why we use 2 codes? Is that okay? The 96 Boca code is stricter than the international new code. So we keep that for certain things that we can grab from, where the international code, a little softer. Easiest way to put
This
it.
is something that you'll look into.
Sexier. Not my job.
Our attorney's gonna look into this.
Yeah, you know what, I'd be happy to talk to you about it further offline, so we can make sure that the revisions before it's introduced, we have all the questions answered and understand the purpose. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, dais updates.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Tonight we were able to cover the calls for Hazlitt, for the Montanaro family, for their loss. We'll be doing the same for our neighbor town tomorrow. We'll be covering their calls. Quick update on the CCW permits.
They are now going to cost $200. $150 of that is the municipality fee, and $50 goes to the state treasurer department.
Chief, can you explain what the CCW?
I'm sorry, yes. We always talk in code, I apologize. It's the concealed carry permits. They're going to cost $200. And these costs, the fee is established basically to cover the municipality costs, because now they're back on the municipality to print them on special card paper. We have to have blue ink cartridges. We have to have a laminating machine, and each card has to be specially laminated with their photo on it. And we put that all together and we type it out. So it's back on us. So there are some fees associated with it that when the state established it, they thought that this would cover some of those fees. It does not cover all those fees, but that it's a start. So that's it. Yeah, go further.
Thank you. Okay.
Chief, how much did it cost prior to that?
We didn't have concealed carry.
Oh, so this is the first time we're charging for it?
Yes. Yep.
And how many, do we have a number of, like, average of what kind of numbers you're getting of those?
Yeah, so far this year we have over 20 concealed carry. It's quick. It's from January 1st through January 17th.
Wow.
And we had over 75 like firearms ID cards, which require full background investigations for each individual. So in essence, it's 75 background checks,
Yes.
full background checks. So, and they require a lot of paperwork that goes out, including references and different things.
What was your total number for last year of that? Do you have?
75,
Oh.
approximately 75
Oh, that was the total for
firearms
records?
IDs,
Oh, okay.
and then I think at the end of December we got 5 concealed when it first started,
Yeah.
and now we have over 20.
Wow.
So they're coming in quick.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jay, you have an update?
Mayor, just to report that since January 1st in the reorganization, we've been pursuing transition of a number of our professionals based on the appointments that were done. Additionally, with my letter submitted, this will most likely be my last meeting in the governing body. First, I just wanted to express my personal thanks to all of you individually, and I just wanted to publicly thank all of the members of the governing body, some of which this is the first meeting that we've actually participated in together, but particularly for those of you that have been here for a few years during my time. I appreciate the opportunity, enjoyed the work, and I wish Keyport and all of you best in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
Michelle, you Okay. We're actually going to go open to the public. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second?
I don't know if I have a question. Is that okay during the public comment? I'm like, well, come up, I don't know. I'm not sure what I am. Can we have a due date for the budget, and have we set a meeting yet for that? Is there a due date that you guys are aiming for?
No, we're meeting hopefully January 25th with Tom Fallon, so we'll come up with a timeline.
So we should,
I
like we did last year.
I would like to do what we did
Yeah.
last year, have that open work session. I thought that was really helpful. But we'll have a timeline out to you hopefully before the end of the month.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so open for public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sally?
Deep breath.
Hello everyone, Callie Galappo, 139 3rd Street, Mayor Renio, council members, chief. Thank you so much for your time. I'm here again asking if you have come to an agreement or discussion about opening up the cultivating process again. Has anybody discussed it?
We haven't had that discussion yet.
Okay,
I don't even think we've had a
No.
canvas meeting yet.
okay. Obviously you all know this is a time-sensitive process because I have hopefully a lease locked in. So I was wondering, not pushing you and respectfully asking, do you have a time frame that maybe?
We don't.
Nothing.
No, and as we mentioned, we have a couple of outstanding litigations right now.
Sure.
So that's really our priority, and we would like to review our process before we go through it again.
Sure. Okay, if there are cannabis meetings, are they open to the public? Would I be able to attend? I know that
It's a subcommittee meeting.
It's a subcommittee
Okay.
meeting, yeah.
So it's not open, okay. All right, then I guess I'll wait, but I know on the municipalities licensing, there are a few things, and I would have to get local supporter letters. Is there anything that you would specifically be looking for?
I don't think at this time, right?
No, I mean, you can obviously look at, what's up there in terms of the application, in terms of the information we've required in the past.
Okay.
But, some of that may be changed, as I
Sure.
said, as we review what we went through the first round.
Okay. Just so I understand this, and I apologize, I'm a little slow with it.
Mhm.
So it is in litigation with it. Do you know roughly how long something like that could take?
Years.
I don't know if they could even predict, sadly. A lot of court cases are taking a long time right now. There's a judicial shortage.
Yes.
Civil cases don't get much priority, which I assume I know this is in civil. It is probably getting as much of a priority as it can. So unfortunately, the governing body can't predict. It's up to the court systems.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Donna?
Donna Purcell, 396 Maple Place. I just have a quick question about the letter from Hank Young Jr. for the parade. Mayor, you indicated that the letter was sent December 16th, but you never got it.
Yeah.
What do we think happened to it?
Jay, would you?
Did it come through the mail?
No, it was an email.
Yeah, the letter was addressed to the mayor and council. It was sent by email to an individual in the borough, and it didn't forward its way to the mayor and council.
Thank you.
John Marlowe?
John Marilla, 34 Broad Street. Just to follow up to that comment from Donna and the comment from the chief, I've only missed 3 meetings in the last 6 years, and Chief Torres hit a key word, process. This borough needs to, this year, this month, somehow create a community calendar. Okay, and that community calendar should go to every department head, like we did it 20 years ago, and every department head will sign off that they received. So there's no, I read the letter today. I know the email went out, and I know it was received from the Borough of Keyport. Once it's received, it should go to the respective departments. In that letter, it tells you the streets that they want to close, and the parade route. So, December 16th, January 16th, 30 days are up. They murdered KBBC for not having requests in for the police, the public works, the fire, whatever it was, on time. So, if the police has a conflict, we hire outside security. If the public works don't have the manpower to shut the streets down or move tables, we hire people. But that's up to that respective committee. You're not going to know what's going on in town unless you create a calendar of events. Councilman Pepperoni mentioned about the 5K. Okay? I'll bet you no one on recreation said about last year's 5K, 2 people falling on Broad Street on a pothole that was never, because no one did the dry run and looked at where the people were running. We could have put a cone out where the county had jackhammered the manhole and 2 people wouldn't have had to fall. So there's a lot of things, but the most important thing is everybody being on the same page. And that's a community calendar allows that. There's an event, it's approved, it's signed off, everybody knows what they're doing. It's not fair to the police department to be thrown that piece of paper. March is right around the corner. So, I mean, it's January, it's 2 months. So that's my theory, and I will tell you, a community calendar works. Believe me, it works. My other comments were NPP. Fabulous job. Really doing a great job, and the improvements in town show it. I mean, okay, a mistake was made on Beer Street. You know, it happens, but I will tell you, those signs and the look is beautiful, and it's a good beautification. My other comment is, and I'm going to wait for Councilmember Riley to come back, because it does involve the first aid, but it's just for something other council members to think about. About 3 months ago, we had a high school football player hurt, seriously hurt, Logan Blanks. And a couple weeks ago, we watched an NFL player nearly die on the football field. We really need to think about the first aid, maybe administering to the Pop Warner and to the high school coaches a CPR class. And I think it should be part of the process. And I think our first aid, I know, would be willing to do that. And it's just to reinforce those extra bodies. There are a lot of people that don't know CPR and have never been trained in CPR. I'm not saying that it would save somebody, but it may. So I think it's something to look at, and I'm going to discuss that with Councilmember Riley. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else? Mike Lane?
Just building on the input that Mr. Vecchio gave regarding occupancy, we have two occupancy level problems. One is the one he talked about, and we really need to control the number of people in the bedroom. The second is that our master plan specifies density requirements for the RA, RB, and RC zones. RA is around 6.3 units per acre, and RB is around 8 units per acre, and RC is 21 units per acre. We had an issue before the planning board last month where an applicant wanted to, the applicant had an extremely small lot. It was half the size of a single-family lot, and they wanted to put 3 units in. Anyway, it worked out to be greater density than any zone, residential zone we have in town. The gap is that when this became an issue before the planning board, it's not in our land use requirements. Our land use requirements do not match what's in the master plan. We need to update the land use requirements to specify the density requirements in the master plan. And Ms. Davison, I think you're aware of this. Has come up a couple times.
Yes, I was at that meeting with you, and I remember that application well.
And so that's a gap, in addition to the gap that Mr. Vecchio just pointed out. So I urge you to take action. The problem with parking in the general commercial district is just going to be unbelievable. The applicant for 25 East Front is going to be short 16 parking spaces. In addition, he already handles about 15 parking spaces right now, so there's going to be about 30 parking space shortage on East Front Street and Broad between the Bay and West Front. And so we really need to get this material into our ordinances. And so we need an update of the land use requirements to reflect the master plan and to reflect what Mr. Vecchio points out. They should be linked together in step. Second is the Commodore of the Yacht Club. He would be here tonight, but they have their meeting tonight, and we lost one of our Commodores just passed away, so he couldn't come. So he asked me to bring the issue of the authentic letter before the council. What message do I give him regarding action that the borough will take on this letter?
On the letter that's received and filed, are we ready to?
We can act
We
on it,
can
but,
act on it.
but we'll, I think you could take back to them that we're gonna look at it, and if the mayor and council so direct, we'll draft an appropriate ordinance. So, and he'll get notice as you would normally get as a property owner in the normal course.
But you're also gonna review
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna-
118.
Yes, I am.
What's the process for looking at it?
Well, I have to talk to our VA, professionals, business administrator, the professionals, everyone who's worked here to see what the history is. I did take copious notes, not as copious as everything you did, which were excellent, the overview of the different lots. And then to figure out, you always have to look at the master plan. You have to look at all those documents before you draft an ordinance to make a zoning change.
You're absolutely right. I was the leader of the land use requirements team and the master plan, and we did zone it general marine commercial. And so that's documented, it's in place. The only lot that's at issue is the lot that the yacht club just purchased. And that's the lot they're asking to be. Now, Jay is leaving. Jay, can we work this problem before you leave?
It can certainly be referred to the council committee that would review zoning and zoning changes.
Okay. And do I work with you to get that review set up?
The letter's been received, it's pretty clear now that it's been clarified, the initial letter was actually incorrect, but it'll be referred to the appropriate staff for review and comment.
I will send to the redevelopment committee members.
You're whispering.
Pardon?
You're whispering.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll send to the real committee members the zoning map that very clearly documents this area around the yacht club and how it's zoned. And I can also provide you documentation relative to how this was handled by the council a couple of years ago when the street was vacated. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew?
Andrew Kelsey, 29 St. Peter's Place. As many of you know, a number of us have worked on the parking report. We studied the issue of parking in town, and it's been mentioned tonight that there's a parking issue in downtown. And really what we found is not that there's lack of parking, but there's a lack of parking management. So all these concerns brought up tonight about parking in downtown could be remedied with management. And I hope the council takes some action on enacting a plan for parking management and all those recommendations we put forward. So if you could share the report with the new members, that would be great. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Thomas.
Elmer J. Graham Jr., 22 St. Peter's Place. A couple of things. Madam Mayor, asked this before and stuff. So we're going to reestablish the Veterans Committee soon?
Let's do it.
Okay, when would that be a good time?
I actually just pulled information this week, so I'll reach out to the American Legion, the VFW over there also.
Okay, yeah, because I'd like to see that set up again. I'd like to see that committee set up again.
Yeah.
Another thing, over the past month or so, I guess this is kind of a plug for this place. I've been attending twice a week a place called We Care Adult Care Center in Red Bank, New Jersey on Highway 35. I've been attending it as a client, but also as a volunteer to help their staff out and everything like that. And they have an outstanding staff there. You know, they'll do anything for you, they'll help you out and stuff like that. And they're looking for volunteers. So you or anyone in the borough knows of anyone who wants to volunteer to come to We Care Adult Center on Highway 35 there in Red Bank, New Jersey, and Union Square Shopping Center there. It's a great place, and they have a terrific, like I said, they have a terrific staff, but they're shorthanded and they need the help and everything like that. They really care too much. I mean, they really care so much. And if you know anyone who needs to go there, you know, during the day, and anyone in Keyport, I highly recommend We Care Adult Center. Thank you.
What kind of services do they offer there, Alma?
Let's see. They offer, well, they offer medical services.
Like physical therapy type stuff?
Yeah, physical therapy and everything like that. And plus, to keep your mind going and everything like that, they, you know, they do all kinds of events. They have people come in to entertain them. You know, they, let's see, like songs and everything like that. It's pretty good.
So kind of like our senior center, but
Senior center, yeah.
for any
They-
age.
Say again?
For any age.
Well,
Anyone.
yeah, more or less. But you can also play bingo there. Of course, you don't win real money. Oh, well, but that's okay. But it's a lot of fun. And plus, they feed you during lunchtime, so, you know, and it's very good. And they have, like I said, they have a terrific staff there, and they care very much. But they're short-handed, and they need volunteers. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Anybody else?
Huh?
I signed him up.
Okay, Jack.
Now, if I'm here.
Hey, you need to go there too.
He can go with you.
Oh, I'm God.
Okay, since we have no other hands, can we close the public comment portion?
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. We are going to go into closed session. Vicki, do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
Resolution.
At this time, can I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2023, which is a resolution of the Borough of Keyport, providing that a closed session that shall be held, that shall not be open to the public, due to, it's necessary for the borough to discuss issues related to contract negotiations, personnel matters, and attorney-client communications, which are exempt from open public meetings pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B7. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Is there any action that's going to be taken
There
afterwards?
could be action taken afterwards. It's not a death.
Thank you.